Today I wanted to talk about how we become individuals. How do you get to be an individual? How? I'm asking the question first. Okay?
By being yourself.
Okay.
which means that you're stuck in your small self.
Right, but how do you become that small self?
Well, your true self enlivens the personality, so you can function on the physical plane, and with that, the enlivened self, you start picking things from experiences and from people around you, specifically whoever raises you, of things that you think are good and things you think are bad, and they sort of become an identification, whether or not it's a negative or positive identification, and you sort of live your life by those guidelines.
Okay, good. Anyone else? So we make decisions.
Yeah.
When do we make decisions?
When we're 8 years old or younger. And they're the best decisions of our lives, and we stick to them the rest of our lives.
Absolutely. I made that decision at 3 and I'm still with it.
And then there's adolescence when we make some others.
Based on what decision?
The early ones.
The early ones. The early ones are what we base everything on. And a 2-year-old? And what? Wise. Okay, a 2-year-old making decision later on becomes a 16-year-old making those same decisions. They're just the same. They have just more access because their vehicles can do a little bit more. So we make decisions before we even think, right? To form what we're going to think. So the question is, what decisions did you make when you were this big? Now I'm still this big, so. It never changed. What decisions? It's real important to look at what decisions.
What if you have very little memory of that time?
You don't need memory of that time.
With you today.
Just look
It's
at
today. It's with you. Look at today. Because you're living those decisions. You're actually living those decisions. You have like a horrible pit in your gut right now. It's like, yeah. We live the decisions we live from. This is what informs our individuality. And by God, I'm going to stick to my individuality. I'm sticking to who I am.
So, you want specifics here?
Absolutely. Put it out. I put out specifics last week. Put them out.
Okay, for me, avoiding uncomfortableness. Sounds, I don't know, that every decision has one door or the other door. That's the door I always took.
Okay, so not to be uncomfortable.
Correct.
Not to have an uncomfortable feeling.
Correct.
So can you see that if I make the decision I never want to feel uncomfortable, then I'm going to maneuver down the road and I'm going to miss certain things and I'm going to go certain things and I'm going to find it, and there's my life.
And the road, road, whatever, it gets narrower and narrower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as
kind
you...
of claustrophobic.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because that's going to be hitting you.
Yeah.
Discomfort's going to be coming and it's going to be...
Narrows your choices.
Yeah, you have very few choices. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to share the one that when I was 2 years old, that I think is still totally having my life, it rules my life. And this was, of course, my mother put me in charge, and I was babysitting when I was 2 years old. Put me in charge of my brother and sister when she left the hotel room. And That's what I think.
So you needed to control the situation.
Yeah.
And so you have to control every situation.
Yeah.
And so that's your decision.
Yeah.
So you then have to create environments that you then have to, then you can do what you need to do, which is to control. So your path would be going down, and you're looking for where can I can control this, I can control that. Oh, control.
I have a little bit of that too.
You have that too, yeah. So that then you can create more and more havoc, more and more of a mess. So your options get narrower and narrower also.
True.
Because you have no choice. You've got to control, and it's going to be complete havoc. It gets harder and harder for you to control the situation that's in front of you.
The only way I can get rid of this is to absolutely be in a havoc, crazy situation and be like, no control. I have no control of this.
Exactly.
Yes.
I have nothing to do with it.
Yes. Yes, it's this. Let it go. Let it go. So you have to, and that for you would be an uncomfortable experience, letting go of control.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally. So what's wrong with, just before we ask anybody else, what's wrong with having an uncomfortable experience? Go.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Really?
Nothing at all. Isn't that a shock?
It was, because nobody ever told me that.
It really, yeah.
I mean, sort of our society, so it's like, we shouldn't be uncomfortable, we shouldn't be unhappy, we shouldn't be this, we shouldn't, that's totally an illusion.
Yeah.
Society, especially now, is so, everything's comfy cushion. Everything is like, how can I make you feel?
Okay.
It's very
Right.
exterior.
Do I do something that's politically incorrect right now?
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry.
We're forcing you.
Don't worry, we're not documenting.
The dolphin story. Oh my God. Did everyone see that?
No.
If you didn't see it, well, I'm not going to show it to you, but do get on CNN and look at it. What happened? Who saw it? Okay, what was the story?
The girl was doing,
How old was the girl?
like 8,
8.
and she was feeding the dolphins, and the people at SeaWorld said, don't do something.
Don't pick up the tray.
Don't break up the tray. Her parents were there. She picked up the tray. The parents weren't paying attention.
Why not? Why weren't the parents paying attention?
Because they were filming her.
They were filming her. They were busy documenting the whole event.
And the dolphin came up as they
Filmed. And they got a great film of shot of it.
Not only grabbed the tray, grabbed her whole arm.
Unfortunately.
They grabbed her arm.
Right, but the good news, she didn't have any kind of horrible injury.
It was traumatic and terrorizing.
Okay.
It was traumatic and terrorizing. Okay?
Right.
And what did the parents want to have happen?
That nobody should go there, or they shouldn't do that anymore.
Right, they should change the whole thing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They should change the whole thing because whose fault was it? According to them.
SeaWorld.
SeaWorld. Whose fault was it?
The parents.
It was the parents' fault. And SeaWorld specifically over and over and over, and the parents admitted that they were told that the child should not, or nobody should ever pick up the tray. Correct?
Correct.
In the thing, if we're going to say, because we weren't there, so we don't know, but this is what the report was. So we're just reporting on the report.
Right.
Okay? And what was wrong with that she did that?
She just forgot.
She forgot. She just forgot. She just forgot. So was it her fault that she just forgot, or was it the dolphin's fault? According to them, The parents? Whose fault was it?
Oh,
The dolphins, because the dolphin didn't forget. He knew what he wanted, or she.
He was being a dolphin.
He was just being a dolphin. The dolphin goes for, and SeaWorld knows that they go for the tray because that's why they had a rule not to
Pick up
pick the tray. But the poor 8-year-old forgot. And as the reporter said, she made a mistake. She made a mistake. So who is not responsible or taking responsibility at all? The parents. And yes, an 8-year-old excited to feed the food. Who should have been overseeing?
The mother.
Parents.
One of them.
One of them should have been overseeing and making sure, don't do that. Remember, don't do that. Remember, hello, dolphins bite, don't do that. They say, I don't know why, honey, they say don't pick up the tray, but don't pick up the tray because that's one of the rules and we don't want to see any of the consequences that possibly happen if you pick up the tray. So don't pick up the tray. So they made it into this horrific thing that actually it was their fault. It's their fault. Did they want to face the responsibility and the discomfort? No.
No, they don't want to face it while it's happening.
They didn't. That's
They were
right.
preoccupied.
They were preoccupied. They weren't even. Here's my un-PC. They weren't even with the kid because they were so busy documenting. So they weren't with the kid doing the sharing. They were just digitalizing the whole event. So they got the whole event. That'll be interesting when that kid gets to be older to watch that again.
it was a pretty good video.
It was a pretty good video. It was very well done. It was perfectly documented. I agree. It was very well done.
They filmed the whole thing. They didn't it wasn't like the camera stopped and
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, let me stop and no, they got the whole thing.
Yeah.
See, that
Didn't take long.
amazes me, and you see that all the
5
time on YouTube now, where people are filming these horrible events happening, and the camera doesn't even shake. Like, oh, maybe I should go help.
Why not? Because what are we doing?
Filming an object.
Filming an object. There's no more humans, and so we don't have to feel
Responsible.
discomfort.
Yeah.
Nobody has to feel discomfort. It's just an object. We don't feel uncomfortable because we're not human. And the other one isn't out there. What we're filming isn't human. We don't do discomfort. That's what it's taking us to.
That was the whole Aurora thing in the theater when people were walking over other people's bodies who were saying, please help.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I'm just going to keep going and get myself out
Well,
of this situation.
I don't know if that's entirely fair in the sense that they were pretty damned uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They were being shot at.
They were being
I
shot.
mean, people
But-
react very differently. Could they have reacted in a more
different
human way?
It's
Sure.
sure.
But
My thing was not to call them heroes because they survived.
That's right.
yeah,
Just because you walked out doesn't mean you're a hero.
There's some hoop-de-doo on, I don't know all of it, about the guy that was pushed in the subway.
Yeah.
Track, and the
Yeah.
other guy was filming, and somebody
Right.
was filming.
Right.
Too, I don't really know all the details. But
Yeah, I haven't read it, but should the newspaper put it up? No, but this is back to Fahrenheit 451. We're just making everything not be upsetting. Everything's reality TV, so we don't have to feel anything. And there we are. So discomfort. In order to grow, do you have to have discomfort?
Absolutely.
In order to get over your decision that you made when you were this big, do you have to have discomfort?
Yeah.
Have to have discomfort. It will hurt. Oh my God, I based so much of my life on this decision. Everything I've done has been going according to this decision. What other decisions? Anybody?
Not good enough.
Not
Not being good. Have to be good.
Have to be good. And can you ever get to be a good girl?
No.
No, because good girl is always a little further away. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the same thing. Good girl is always like, it's off in the distance. It keeps on the ever receding good girl.
It's like,
Where are you? Oh, I'm coming. Chosen one. I'm coming. Again, reference.
in gym, when I was in elementary school, they had us stand in the middle of the gym. We had to take like half steps to the wall. So you have one line, and then you divide that line in half, and you keep dividing it in half. So, well, how many halves does it take you to get to the wall? You never actually get to the wall, so you can always
half it. Yep. Yeah, you're never going to get there. So it's an unattainable striving.
Mine's
Now,
like Debbie.
what?
Mine's identical to Debbie's.
Yeah, yours is totally identical.
I mean, really.
Really identical. Yeah, you are to keep aspiring, keep striving, and never attain. Is it working for you? Is it working for your small self?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's huge. Is your small self happy?
totally.
Is it big and happy? Flourish. A giant sycamore tree. Yeah. Huge. Because you never get there. So what do you have to do to get over the decision? Because that's your identity, that's your individual, that's you. And everything is then based on decision of where to go to school. For you, totally. Where to go to school, how to operate, what to do, who do I date, where do I go, this, how my work, everything is based on that. And then all of a sudden, you're going to pull the rug out? Your answer is, no way.
I get uncomfortable.
Yeah, you got to get really uncomfortable.
Nobody wants to do that.
That's right. Nobody wants to do that. That's why I'm not so popular. That's why I'm not going to make it to the top 10 list, because I'm promoting every... Yeah, I don't think so, because it's about you have to be able to be uncomfortable. You have to know that this thing, this part that we designed, that we set up, that we actually decided, picked the pieces, I'll take this and that, and no, I don't want to take this, and that's, as you were saying, good and bad. I'm going to do this and that, and we organized it so perfectly. We are actually the producers of our own play. We produced our own play. We set it up, we did the whole thing, and then we can gripe about it if, in fact, that's part of the play. Oh yeah, griping about it, never attaining, good, got it. Never being successful, yeah, got it, good. And that's the thing. It can be things about never get love. A lot of people have that one, never get love. Never going to be able to get love. That's never going to happen. Or love hurts, so I'm going to hurt somebody first. A lot of people have that one. The good one, never going to be good. Never get to be good. That's a decision. I never get to be good. So that then, what do I have to do if I have a decision, I never get to be good? I, Nevergettobe, bunch of letters I put together, I put a lot of energy into them. Somebody yesterday asked me, don't you think thought has energy? Because they were trying to do the affirmation thing, that affirmation, so I can say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get it. Right? That's what affirmations are.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the affirmations, where are the affirmations coming from? Small self. which may have the thing, you never attain what you want. That has more energy in it than, I want this. And so, if we really wanted to have an affirmation that would work, where would we have to be? In our hearts. And we would have had to have let go of the entire individual. And then, what would we be wanting? Whatever God wants. We would just be riding the horse in the direction it's going. So much easier. I don't know about you, but this thing that makes decision on my part, I don't like to use it. I'm not going to use it. Go away. I figure God has more awareness of what's going on. I want to ride the horse in the direction it's going. So you let go of that. So I got to tell you, I'll tell you a quick story to bring a little levity. One of my decisions, and most of you know this story, but I haven't put it up on the greater audience, is when I was probably 4 years old. I went to Sunday school. My sister was at Sunday school. I was 4, so I wasn't really, I was being babysat because my grandmother, I think, was teaching. And it was Hanukkah. And I was given to be distracted. I'm not being taught. I was given a little mimeograph paper of Judah Maccabee. Remember, it was all blue for people who remember.
Yeah.
I can still see that picture. And Judah Maccabee was on a hill, and there were rocks. He had a skirt, and he had sort of crisscross type thing. And I think he had a sword. I'm pretty sure he had a sword. And I was given crayons to color him in. And nobody said anything to me. They just said it's Hanukkah and it's Judah Maccabee. Well, I grew up in Boston. And I knew my ethnicity. I knew this is my decision, the way I looked at the world. One, from very young I was a warrior. And two, one of my big things, besides Chinese and the Asian thing, was Scottish. So I knew that Judah Maccabee was Judah Maccabee. Nobody corrected me. Nobody said anything. I just knew. So I put him in a kilt, had him in plaid, put on the rocks, did the whole thing, and I had him Scottish. That my individual small self at the age of 4 made the clear decision that I was on the right path, and I knew that Judah Maccabee was Scottish. It wasn't until I was 23 years old, and it was about this time of year, and I'm back in Boston, and it hit me. Oh my God, he couldn't have been Scottish. It never occurred to me. Nobody ever corrected me. Nobody ever anything. It never occurred to me that he wasn't Scottish. And all of a sudden, the story. I remember I heard the story about the 8 days and oh my God, it wasn't in Scotland that the whole thing occurred. He couldn't have been in Scotland. It was somewhere else. It was in, I think, around Jerusalem or somewhere. Little different climate, the rocks were a little different. That mimeograph thing wouldn't have been colored the same. No, he didn't have on a plaid outfit. He didn't put on. But it never occurred to me until I was 23. And then the light bulb went off and I went, wow. I spent all those years, and I mean it, all those years, knowing that Judah Maccabee was Judah Maccabee, and he was Scottish. Never questioned it, never anything. That's what we do. That is what we do. We don't question it. We're so sure that the decision we make is truthful, real, absolute. It's the way it goes. Now
But the hard thing is that it becomes unconscious. Just to compare it, say, with animals that have been mistreated when young. A dog, for example, that's been mistreated by a man with black hair, then turns on every man with dark hair that he meets as an older dog. It's not even aware of it.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. No question. It will come up in moments like, for you, did you know that you couldn't be good enough? Did it every once in a while, would you have a thought that would come up, why can't I be good enough, or I can't be, but did you know that...
I never put it together that it was in me that extreme.
Yeah, that it was
everything I was doing.
Everything was being informed by that. Is everything being informed by it?
Totally.
Absolutely. Everything, the decision for everything we do then is informed by that. You're absolutely right. It's unconscious. So there has to be a point where we're reflecting and turning and asking, and there's also, we have to want to change something. We have to want to not be living in the play that we're living in. Yeah.
In a sense, like you said before, you construct the machinery of your personality and then you forget that you built it.
Yes. Yes. We jump into the play, into the part where we've created, we've produced, and then we identify with it completely, and we forget that we were actually the producer of it.
And it's so easy to look at the outside circumstances and say it's that or it's this. And
right. It's because of over here.
You create it.
You create it. Again, if I make a certain decision, then I'm going to be going along this particular path, and I'm not going to see over there, and I'm not going to see over there, or I'm not going to see that, or I'm only going to see this. And it goes back to the football field again. Do I say his name?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, I'm politically incorrect today. Joe Flacco. He only sees what he wants to see. So if there could be a receiver 2 feet away, he won't see him because he's looking for the receiver over there because that's where he knows he's supposed to be. So there's no receiver. That's what he's saying. He's saying that there's no receiver. When in fact there is, if he'd step back, open it, and stop being so identified with who he thinks he is. Does this make sense? So absolutely, it is unconscious. Can we make it conscious? Yes. How?
Look at it. And
Shine the light on it.
Shine the light on it. Shine the light. To look at it, we have to turn around and go, wow. Okay, everything keeps on doing the same. Now, can we do this by ourselves?
No.
No.
Well, if you find yourself biting somebody, I suppose that's time for reflection.
Yes. So if you hit a massive wall, yes, absolutely. When you hit that wall, absolutely, that's a help. But then but can you get it by yourself? No, usually not. Because can you fix a hard drive with the utility on the hard drive? No. Why? Because what's wrong with the utility?
It's part of the system.
It's part of the system, and it's infected with the same virus that the hard drive has. You got to get outside the system in order to break it down.
Okay, I have part of the solution.
Okay, go ahead.
Uncomfortableness is a myth. And it takes, I never knew that. And it's really a paper tiger, and it's always 1/10 of what you think it is. And then once you break through it, it's like, so that's all there is?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to just keep doing that over and over
Over
again.
and over.
But that's really the thing that keeps everybody in line, and you just have to...
And we do it to ourselves.
Right. Totally.
It's what we do to keep ourselves in line playing our part.
But I've never, every time I've had the courage to go through it, that's always my response. That was all it was?
Okay, so then why didn't you stop?
What do you mean, why didn't
When you would go through and you'd see it,
Because you forget.
because you forget. That wasn't true. It closes down
Right, you have
because
to keep repeating.
and then you keep repeating, but you still have that. You're still basing it on. So is it a fluke when it works?
I guess, yeah, when it closes down, yeah.
Yeah, it closes down. It was a fluke. It was
Right.
this worked, but it was a fluke because you're basing everything still on your initial decision making.
Right.
So it is not until you find your initial decision making, and you go, "Wow, this is what I actually did. Wow, wow, this is how I operate. This is what I actually do. Wow." I base it all, everything is based on this. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep, yep. Oh, wow. So in order to get out of it, I have to make it an object. So I have to make my part into an object, which then means, what do I have to do? Dissociate? No, because then that's part of the individual. I have to get out of the whole individual. I have to get out of the part. I have to leave. So then I have to see what? That the individual is not who I am. Not who I am.
Empty husk.
And I'm the one that enlivens it. I'm the one that keeps it going. I'm the puppet and the puppeteer. Time to let it go. How do you let it go?
Withdraw the energy.
Withdraw the energy. Yeah.
I was going to say the first step you kind of already said when you step back and you know have I was going to say like a glimpse with the help of a teacher, you know, to kind of step back, and then you know, and a part of that process too is that you know that vibration so well. You know, you really know the ins and outs of it, so that you know as soon as you have that vibration again, up there it is, up there it is.
Right. Right.
So, and then from there, you know, you go to the
Keep
heart
on
and
stilling
just-
it. Still it and work it. Glimpse enough? Why do you need a teacher?
To shine a light on it.
And to keep you at it.
Right.
To keep you at it. Because the forgetting is so easy. So easy to forget. Just forget.
And we don't see the connections between the situations.
Right.
You know, they look on the surface
Totally
totally different.
different.
They
Absolutely.
go back to the same.
They go back to the same thing. That's where I wrote in the survival kit about, you know, having this feeling, and it's the exact same feeling as when it's something to do with eating chocolate or, you know, ice cream or whatever it was. And they, so externally they look completely different, and actually they're actually the same. That's what I was trying to do for you to see that they were completely, they look on the surface different. And so then that other person would look at it and see it as different. I don't know what they're talking about, but they're actually the same event. Oh, doing the same thing again. Doing the same thing. It's from the same impetus. It's from the same motivation. It's from the same. So that's a clue to help. Oh, whoa, is this the same? What's the motivation? Is it actually having some, is it valid? Is this motivation valid? It's coming from this decision making. Is this decision making valid? Oops, no. Does everybody avoid discomfort? Does everybody?
No.
No, so it's not universal. Does everybody here have a problem with they're not good enough?
No, not everybody.
Not everybody. So sorry, guys. It's not universal. Everybody doesn't have it. It's not absolute. It's not in everybody's DNA. So for each of us, because remember, we're individuals. Ain't it great? As individuals, we have to, each of us, look to what it was for ourselves. So we're each of us, which is so cool as humans, we're all, each of us, unlocking and finding, wow, cool, great. Because what is this? Remember, this is God's play. And if it's God's play, we're all here for that entertainment. God's entertainment. And don't be so prideful about that. And don't be so, well, I'm an individual. Don't do it. No, it's really cool. And each one of us is to play a part and know that joy of that we're dancing and we're with God. And that we're always. The joke is that we're always with God and we play the part that we don't know that. That's part of the decision making. And our job is to keep disentangling from that individual. Keep on pulling it back, disentangling, and go, oh, a lot better. Cool. Does it matter I was right or wrong? No. I'm wrong. I made a mistake. I did it. Does the mistake, making a mistake, let me off the hook? No. I'm responsible. I made a mistake. Am I good enough? For whom? For what? What is the good enough? It's just a phrase. And then we enliven it, strengthen. No. Disentangle from it. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough for who? And whose decision is that definition? Where is it? Where's the, do you get on a scale every morning and it says, good enough? No. But think of it. Where's the barometer for good enough?
We make it up.
And do you ever make it? Do you ever get to the?
That's not right.
No, it's an unfulfilling barometer. You never get to the. It's you can't attain the good enough.
Maybe I should have done this, and if I would have done this, that could have maybe made it.
Yeah, they would have been better. Yep. And it's not it at all. There was nothing wrong, and you didn't commit a heinous crime. Trust me, it really wasn't. It isn't a big deal. It's not. And you just said you were the bad little girl that said the emperor has no clothes on. So from a standpoint of everybody who has been agreeing that the emperor has great clothes, and whether they actually believe it or not, but just to keep everything nice and smooth, they've been saying, yeah, nice outfit, nice outfits, good, beautiful colors. You aren't fitting in. You didn't read the rule book for that particular situation. It says, do not admit emperor has no clothes on.
So does that go back to what you talked about in the blog, right and correct?
Yeah.
So
She was actually right and human and completely 100%, 1,000% incorrect. And are we ever supposed to be human? What was that answer there? No. No. Oh, how sad.
May I ask, talk about another little girl who meets another emperor?
Okay.
Who gets unmasked when the Wizard of Oz is unmasked when they. Dorothy's reaction is, "I'll never get home to Kansas," and I can really identify this with you. Finally, you make that realization, even if it's at the age of 50, that there's only one puppeteer in your life, and instead of being happy or wow, great, I've always known this, which I have. I can really identify with Dorothy there. How will I get home to Kansas now?
Okay, so Dorothy, as an individual, or you as an individual, or anybody as an individual, will we go back to Kansas? Will we get back to Kansas?
No.
No. Are we supposed to go back to Kansas? No.
Well, she gets back to Kansas, but in a way she never fathomed.
That's right. It's totally, because who is to actually go back to Kansas? Yeah.
The small self wants to go back to Kansas.
Small self wants to go back to Kansas.
And that once you are no longer, attached to your small self, you don't want to go back, and that you're totally different. It almost is like you're a different person.
Right, and that's right. And so even though you may return to Kansas, it's going to be a very different Kansas. Even though everything looks the same.
Yeah, a different route.
And it's a different route. We're not going back that same route.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
That's great, fantastic. I'm very thankful. Really, I don't know why I couldn't see it.
That's okay. That's okay. It's very, very cool. All of us. But we each have to know it and let go of all that we hold on to that make ourselves miserable. I keep on remembering the story of Indra, who left heaven because the demons were coming in to heaven. And so he came to earth and he went in the body of a pig. And then the battle happened in heaven and the gods won. And so everybody came down. They all came down and said to the pig, "Okay, Indra, you can go home now." And he goes, "Oink, oink." And he has a wife, a sow, and little piglets. And he's happy. He's completely happy. And he ain't coming out of that body. And so then they decide, well, if we kill the wife and the little piglets, maybe he'll wake up. So they do. And the pig just starts crying and all upset and so sad. And so then they cut him open, the pig open, and Indra comes out laughing hysterically, knowing he'd been in the play. We forget ourselves, and we think that who we are is this little individual, and it has validity, and it's real, and it's important, and it's when what is important in truth is God. Let's take a couple minutes. Keep letting go. All our decisions, all our important decisions that we made when we were this big, all those important decisions that were so real, valid, correct, true, absolutes. We saw them. We see them as absolutes. We never question them because we know they're true. And then our lives reflect them so that everything is just perfect the way we created it. See if we can let it go and go in. Give up that individual. Get into the heart. Let it go. Deep. The cave of the heart, where we actually do reside.